Oh, wait. Let me get, okay. All right. Let me get liquid death. Hold on.
All right. While Kevin is back, welcome everyone to the Fashion Matrix podcast. What's going on? And I just gave you, I just gave away my guest, but I'm gonna tell you again. So, welcome to the Fashion Matrix podcast, and for tonight's episode, I'm very excited because I'm bringing a good dear friend of mine. That the story is pretty fucking funny. He started he attended one of my seminars, and then we became very good friends. He came here to Mexico. He stayed at my place. My family loves him. I love him. Not only that, he's someone that I admire because I wanted to bring him especially for today's episode because he's a terrific salesperson, a terrific communicator, not even sales, a communicator. He knows how to infiltrate your mind in such a beautiful, elegant way that you don't even know. And all of a sudden he's selling you some shit. And you're like, what the hell happened? Like, oh. And we actually, I mean, there's a funny story that I'll make him tell you the story about. We were out on a hike and he told me he basically, not a bet, but he almost placed a bet. Like, I bet you that they're not going to say hello to you and they're going to say hello to me. And I was like, get the fuck out of here, Kevin. Come on, man. But anyway, without any further ado, let's bring my good brother, successful entrepreneur, and a terrific communicator and salesperson, Kevin Marroquin. You're not Marx. Kevin Marx, my
Fair
brother.
enough.
What's going on, man? What's going on?
My brother Pablo. Cheers, man. Thanks for that.
What's up, man? Dude. Did I just give away your last name? I'm sorry, man. Shit.
No, man. I have that public on Facebook. You can go back and search that up and you'll see it. No, of course not. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I'm here. Thanks for having me, man. I got, as you can tell, I'm currently traveling right now for work. So I'm in the Bay Area near San Francisco. So excuse the hotel scenery behind me.
Well, actually, it looks nice. I thought it was your place. And I was like, that was beautiful. Like, shit.
It's pretty good around here.
These are the balling. Look at me. This is actually Maya's place. This used to be my office, and now this is Maya's place.
Oh, man. Is that where I was staying?
Yeah. This is your room, by the way. Yeah, this is your fucking
Hey, man,
room.
Get out of my room.
Hey, man, get the fuck out of my room. But how are you, man? How are things and everything over there?
Oh, everything's going great. Ringing in the new year, learning more about the things we're going to be talking about, whether it's communication and sales and just building and making new plans, coming to own a lot of my maturity in terms of getting to the next level, because there's always levels to it. And once you think yo shit, then here comes another level.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure. So, that's for damn sure.
Every time. So growing in that aspect, and just continue to grow more, man. I'm so happy I got to see you earlier this summer, and just fills my heart.
Let's talk about that, man. What was the best part of your trip here in Mexico City?
Oh, you already know. The tacos. I always thought everybody was full of shit because everybody in LA and San Diego would always say, "Oh no, you gotta go to Mexico if you want real tacos." And I'm like, I don't fucking get it. Like, why can't they bring the tacos over here? I don't understand.
The Mexican is making my food over here. I'm gonna go there. It's gonna be the same shit,
but they were just out of this world. So the food, the tacos, and I mean, it was all great. I also probably, even though I really did love the tacos, one of my most favorite parts was going to see the pyramids.
Oh yeah.
So that was very magical, and there was a strong energy over there.
Yeah, it was, right. You felt it immediately, and I remember you telling me the difference between like an old cathedral, super famous here in Mexico, and the architecture is beautiful, but you didn't want to enter because he was like, oh man, you are a pretty spiritual guy as well, which we're not going to talk about today, but you feel these energies and everything, and then you went to the in quotes pyramids.
I peeked my head inside that cathedral, and it just felt a little off. It felt weird.
It is, yeah. Horrible, man.
Yeah.
Horrible. But anyway, man, so I wanted to bring you because I want to talk about sales, right? I'm starting to educate people over here in Mexico in regards to sales, and there's a lot of things that I've encountered because, as you know, because you've been here, we are like 15 years in the past, right? Like we are
Yeah.
behind you guys,
Yeah.
right? And the things that, Jordan Belfort, Grant Cardone, I think people are just starting to read, sell, or be sold. Like some
Hmm.
people knew about it, but they just
Hmm.
rebranded it and they made their own fucking shit over here in Mexico, like the Mexican Paisa version, which is pretty fucking fun. But now, because I remember I have my fucking degree, like, with Cardone University. I have the straight line persuasion. I am a fucking certified Tony Robbins and Madanis
I love it. Yeah. Yeah.
Tony Robbins coach. And back in the day when I was doing it, nobody knew what I was talking about here in Mexico. And I was like, Tony Robbins, is that like an ice cream or something? And I was like, dude, come
Sound
on.
like an ice cream.
Yeah, because there's a Baskin Robbins or something like that. And they're like,
Yeah.
is that
Yeah.
an ice cream? I'm like, no, dude. And now they're just starting to realize, because there's more entrepreneurs, in quotes, like
Uh,
we're so behind. So I'm seeing a whole lot of holes, if that makes sense, when it comes to selling and entrepreneurs over here, the sales forces over here in Mexico.
mhm.
And everyone knows that Americans come here and they open up their businesses in Mexico and they exploit the shit out of the Latin
Yeah.
American business.
Yeah.
So
Capitalism 101.
yeah.
Yeah. They do it with
So
any third world country.
damn, now that burn. But it is what it is, man. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
true. You're right. You're right. It is the truth. So I've seen you in action. I've seen your growth when you first started, and to the level, to the point where you are right now. And man, I just admire you, man. I just admire your energy. First of all, I admire your technique, because I know that it may, to the untrained eye, it might seem like you're just having fun, like,
Right.
yeah, whatever, but
Hey, it's
you are
going.
infiltrating the
Yeah.
people's comfort, right? You make them feel
Yeah.
so comfortable,
Right.
and that's why you get them to sign. And something that I remember you telling me when you was here, that you have no worry, no worries if
Hmm.
you lose a job, or if you lose a business, whatever the fuck, because you're such a great communicator and a
Yeah.
salesperson. You have that level of confidence now, that you know that you'll make it, no matter where you are,
Right.
no matter what fucking country, whatever the fuck, you. So the first question, bro, is how important is sales for anybody, right? For anybody who,
Right.
because I'm seeing people are, well, I don't consider, like, they're kind of scared of saying I'm a
Right.
salesperson. They're not proud of saying they're a
Mm.
salesperson. And then how important was sales for you in your own
Right.
development, man?
Well, yeah, I mean, you kind of touched on it a little bit, talking about how confident I am, whether, if I start a business or I start working at a specific place or a specific brokerage, no matter what happens, I'm always going to be okay, right? Because that's what sales does for you. I started doing off sales. Well, if we go way, way back, the first sales job I ever had was, I grew up very broke, very, very poor. And I remember being in high school, and they're like, hey, sell this box of chocolates, and for every box of chocolate that you sell, like it was like 25 or 30, you get $5 out of it. And I'm like, wait a minute, you're not giving prizes, you're actually giving cash for this? Okay. I wanted a drum set so badly, right? So I saw this selling chocolates, and I saved up to $200 to find my first drum set. I went to malls, I went door to door, and I was only like 14, 15 at the time, and it was my first sales experience. And I was a little bit smaller minded at the time, so I just got the $200 and I quit right away. Got my drum set and went right into it.
We'll talk about that in a moment, like the limiting belief of, when it comes to making money and shit. But
Right.
man, that's fucking funny.
And,
I
yeah.
think I told you the story that I started selling chocolates as well when I was I was fucking 16
Damn.
or something like that. Yeah,
No way.
like that's how I know you're a fucking hustler. Yeah,
That's
dude.
how it started. All it was like, okay, I don't have any way to make money. Here's one way, and they were really pimping us out at that school though. I
How
don't know.
long did it take you to build
One
up to
week,
what?
1 week, and $200, and mind you, this is not the internet age so much, right?
Yeah,
And so
no
yeah, I made two hundred
Facebook.
dollars in 1 week from just hustling like crazy. And my mom even looked at me like, "Where the hell did you get this drum set?" She thought I stole it, Right.
Yeah, because you're a cholo, right? Hey, mama, orale.
Right. Right. She didn't believe that I got money. Anyways, that's another story. So that's where it all started. And that's when I really like saw for the first time, like, wow, if you just go up to people and ask them something, like, even though they'll reject you or something, like they'll pay for whatever service you might have. And also it taught me rejection as well, but I wasn't getting a lot of rejection because I looked very young for my age, so I looked like a little boy, like really younger than even 14. And I think, and I knew, and I kind of knew that at that age, and I knew that that was something that I could
Boy.
exploit, use to my advantage. And I think that's where yeah, that's where it kind of started coming in. And so, but it's funny because then my first after that, I had some little tiny sales jobs, but the next real serious sales job that I had was doing the door-to-door cold calling and starting in real estate. And that's where I started realizing, like, hey, that little boy image actually really isn't helping you out here. And it's almost like that's how I started with the real estate. And that was not the best. So I
Yeah.
quickly learned. But just going back to your question, how everything helped me, you go back to making the cold calls and just getting rejected in and out so many times and hitting the doors. You start I knew that the formula had to be made for me to get these people attention, for them to speak to me long enough for me to get to the appointment, and then to ultimately getting the listing signed or whatever it was I was trying to get signed. So it instilled in me not only the prospecting part, but then having to sell myself at the table to just build a strong inner game, and then the confidence I need to move forward, not just with sales, but with everything in my life.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, basically, is it fair to say that first you started developing yourself, then you got good at sales, or
Yeah,
it was at the same time?
Gary Keller, the $1 million real estate agent, right? He has a book, $1 million Real Estate Agent, and there was one line in there that just took me hard, like it got a hold of me hard, and it said, "Work to earn, not to no, work to learn, not to earn," right?
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, yeah, I'm so focused on making that quick buck that I could lose myself right away. And I always had that kind of radical free thinking, that way of thinking, just doing things. I was always a rebel. I was always an outcast.
Mm.
And it has to do mostly in part because my dad wasn't in my life, and people, how parents and friends' parents are when they see that, oh, he doesn't have a father. He's always out at night. He's a rigmarole. He's just going around. He's a vagabond.
Do you
So
think? Yeah, I'm sorry to
no,
interrupt,
go
man.
ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Do you think that's like a part of the recipe to have someone build really massive success? Because you don't see someone building like a really massive, super huge empire by having rich parents and having everything handed to them. I mean, maybe they'll inherit their parents' shit, but
Yeah.
they themselves making something. Do you think like maybe lacking a parent or being a fucking drug addict or something like that? Do you think that's part of the recipe?
I don't know if it's absolutely necessary. I mean, definitely there's just so much to learn from when you go through some hardships like that, right? If you're so coddled and taken care of from when you have two parents, like, and it's a cruel irony in a sense, right? Because you have a daughter now, right? And if
Yeah,
I was to have a kid, I want to give them everything I can.
fuck, you're right.
But even if I didn't come from that, and so, but if I'm just going to talk about just me and my position and where I came from, there's no way in hell I would be the person you see in front of you if I had my two parents with me that were both very attentive and always caring for me. I did have that up until I was 10 before my father left my family. And then from there, my mom fell apart, like completely fell apart, started partying, etc. And I was really just left alone to always go to my friend's house every night. And it was like sleeping over at their house, eating their food.
That's not safe.
Yeah, that's not safe. And that was, yeah, and they saw this. Everyone saw this. So yeah, just going back to your question about, yeah, it definitely helps. It's just going through those trials and tribulations and then learning from them and being able to actually
Yeah, like
bring something positive of it. You can't just, because people will go through shit, and then when they go through shit, they can make it a in woe is me kind of mentality. Well, I went through something special, so
Yeah, I am special.
so actually, I guess I'm just gonna be broke for the rest of my life.
And
Why do I even try?
yeah,
Yeah,
give me something because I'm so special. I deserve everything because
right.
you don't know what I've been through. Yeah.
I could never live like that. I don't know what it was, but
Dude,
man, yeah.
go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, just we going back to, was it hard, with two parents versus one? I mean, when my mom left, another extreme I mean, my mom, when my dad left, another extreme thing happened where I got lit on fire. And when I got lit on fire, like
Fuck.
I got third-degree burns over 20% of my body. And and I was in bed rest for close to 8 months, 2 months in the hospital, always on morphine. And the recovery process
Ooh.
versus actually getting lit on fire is much worse, because you have to, not to get gruesome here, but you have to like take off your bandages every day, and you
Yeah.
have to scrub it with like a hard sponge to clean it. And
Oh,
it was
no.
terrible. So on
It was
top of
like
just
3 times
excruciating,
getting burned. Getting
correct,
burned, right?
every
Oh,
every fucking day, correct, every day,
for how
just
long?
did I have to clean the wounds for
Yeah.
about 5-6 months, I would say.
Oh,
And then they finally started healing up because they wouldn't close. So,
yeah.
and every day they would grow bacteria, yellow bacteria on it. So I'd have to
Take.
arbs everything. And so
Oh man.
and I bring up that story because when you go into that much pain, you go back to school, and then your scars are so much more noticeable. Kids can be cruel. And I think at that point, okay, he doesn't have a father. His mom's absent. He's going about doing his own stuff. He got lit on fire. The principal said some fucked up things about me during the assembly, saying these stupid kids. And so, it was so bad. And at that point, somewhere around like 13, 14, I was like, you know what? If no one is going to give a fuck, like if no one is like, it just thinks that I'm like gonna just, I'm done. I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want. Like I gotta like really do what I want and not take action, acting as if I care what others think, because they already think the lowest of me possibly.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I feel you, man. I
Right.
mean,
And that just helped me to just kind of have my own way in terms of sales and just kind of move in that direction.
yeah. Well, yeah, you have your own flair. That's for sure. That
Yeah.
probably stems from that, of course.
Mhm.
That kind of like uh not caring, like kind of like Jim Carrey funny way. But I know, and and everyone, well, not everyone knows, but that you study your butt off, man, to
Right.
understand communication and understand that if you lower your voice, if you make a this, if you wear
Yeah.
something, is going to be easier. So let's talk about some basic F shit about sales, man. Because
Of
I'm telling
course.
you, the people that I'm teaching, sometimes they have no idea, dude. They're not even using social media to sell their shit.
Mhm.
That's how basic this is, man.
I
Like,
love it.
they're not,
Yeah.
I mean, like, dude.
I mean,
So
I don't,
you told, well, no, I don't love it, but you told me
yeah.
that, well, this, that, and you already gave me the whole thing of prospecting and cold calling. Like, dude, there's people here that don't believe in cold calling. They believe in warm calls only.
Mhm.
Which, I mean, yeah, it's your first circle, right? Your
And they're
mom, your
still
dad,
nervous with that.
and they're still yeah, they're still gonna fucking do it. It's fucking stupid, but they don't believe in cold calls. They don't believe
Yeah.
in door knocking over here in Mexico because they think it's so uh unsafe, which in a way it is. If
Yeah.
you go to Ecatepec, right, which
You're right.
is one of the worst places here in Mexico, or fucking Tepito, like if you go to this place and you door knock on them, of course you might get your ass beaten or even killed or kidnapped. I don't know, shit. But that has made the sales industry over here in Mexico and overall Latin America, because we are a third world country, right?
Mhm.
We're hustling all the time, and you felt it, right? You
Yeah.
feel like people are
Oh
trying to.
yeah. Everyone's really moving around, trying to get their own. It was actually pretty respectable. Yeah.
Yeah, but let's talk about sales.
Yeah.
Would you say it's like the first thing when you want to sell? Do you want to make them feel like you're trying to get, like, I'm onto something. I don't give a fuck about you. I just want my cut in this deal. And then how important it is cold calling, door knocking, and walk us through the process. What was your process when it comes to that? Because I know it all comes first from prospecting, right?
Right.
So
So yeah, so going back to kind of how you mentioned about infiltration and the way I sort of do sales, because there's going to be different personality types when it comes to sales and what works for everybody. But just to kind of share how I would go about things is, and this is probably going to sound familiar, is building and establishing good rapport in a relationship at first,
right.
right? Um, unless the type of person you're dealing with is an absolutely, type A driver type of personality, which most people I don't really think are.
Pretty rare.
uh, I'm very much about establishing rapport, getting to know the person, and then from there, starting to kind of wean myself into identifying if there's a way I can provide that product or that service for them.
Yeah.
Right.
And
So, and that just goes from the conversation that we're having back and forth and asking the right questions, and more importantly,
mm,
being confident in how you're asking the right questions as well.
mm,
Right. Mhm.
yeah, yeah, of course. That man, it sounds so fucking easy, but what you just said right now is pure gold. Asking the right questions and
Mhm.
not just talking, which is something that happens over here with the
Yeah.
people that I'm seeing. They think it's just blah, 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 and they
No.
like a fucking pimp. So and they never shut up. And in my experience, and I've seen you, it's more about them and making them talk, making them give you all the goddamn information, and then you're just like, shit, sign right here, baby. Of
Ask the right questions, and then shut up. Just straight up let them do all the talking.
course.
Oh really? Wow. Tell me more. Whatever it is that is, and then guide the conversation so you can ultimately go for the close. And
Okay.
once you go for the close, again, shut up, wait for them to speak.
So
Essentially.
were you nervous at first when your first sales
Fuck
or
yeah. Of
when,
course.
when, when the close came? Because that's something that happens,
Of
right? Like, oh,
course.
I'm
Yeah.
about to talk about money.
Right.
What the fuck do I
Ye-
do?
that's another tough one, right? I mean, that's sort of where I kind
I
of
love it.
right, because if you were selling chocolates, I was selling chocolates. I was already going straight for the close. Those are like
Yeah.
immediate close. Like you're not asking like, "Hey, buy a chocolate." You're going straight
Yeah.
for it, right? So you're almost
You're not
practicing.
qualifying.
But
What?
but what's
When's the last
funny,
time you ate something?
right? But what's funny is that the close can be broken up into sections until the big final one. So what I mean by that is
Mhm.
when you have their attention, you've already done on some level a micro close. And you have to keep going with that momentum. Hey, I'm busy. Oh, I'll be real quick and I'll be out of your hair. When was the last time? Oh, and then they start talking. Boom, you closed them right there. It was a micro one, but you kept them engaged in the conversation. Really? I thought that. And then they're like, well, no, actually. I'm like, oh wow, and really, and and then you're already having a conversation. So now you already have the momentum moving,
Yeah, of course.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's and then again, if you're doing it over the phone, the tone and your upswings is
Mhm.
definitely one that's going to keep people in as well. And then when you're asking the questions to be more confident and using those downswings are going to help you a lot too.
You just did it.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
Did you like
I
that?
fucking love it. I love it. Fucking love it, man. Shit.
Yeah.
Can't
But
fucking
again, all this comes from just putting your ass on the phone and just talking to people because I would get nervous a lot. Just going back to what you're saying, I would get nervous a lot on the phones and I didn't know all this. But after a while, I would just get on there. If I felt nervous myself, a little technique I would use is I would pretend to be somebody who I thought was very confident how they were speaking. I would pretend
yeah.
to be, uh, you know, anyone who I Grant Cardone, I pretend to be him. Hey, how's it going, Chief? How you doing? And just start talking to him, right? And I knew it was almost like it's almost like a play, like you're in theater, right?
It is. Yeah.
Put on the act, entertain them for crying out loud, right? If they're not entertained and they're just kind of like monotone, oh, what do you want? Like, oh, you know what? You play along with them too on that.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a lot of trial and error, but eventually you'll find your role, and even in something that might not be to what they're used to, but because you carry yourself with certain enthusiasm and you have that tone of authority and confidence,
I have
you'll keep it
feel of
going.
authority. Yeah, I see
Yeah,
you fucking Jordan Bell for shit. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Dude, that was gonna
Sharp
bring
as a
that up.
tack.
Sharp as a tack. how would you say that in fucking Spanish? That would be fucking so
But
funny.
that, even
Dude,
that one, yeah.
I'm using some of that shit to teach it to teach them.
And it works.
It's
It's
not. Oh,
so
of course it works.
ridiculous.
It's
The
beautiful. It's
I,
fucking yeah. It's proven,
God,
but
I
it's not. Dude, it sounds so funny
yeah.
in Spanish. That's what I'm trying to say. In Spanish, I'm laughing my ass off inside of myself. I'm like, God, sound fair enough. ¿Te suena bien?
Right? Oh, suena bien.
Hey, ¿cómo está? ¿Cómo se encuentra hoy? You know,
Let's dive into it. Like, why are people like so responsive like this? The news outlets, the media, the movies that they watch, we need to play to their narrative, right?
yeah.
If I come up to them like, "Hi, how freaking, just hi, how are you?" Like, so stale, and you can their BS alarm is already going off. This guy wants to tell me something. It's done. You're toasted. But if you come in with a little bit more like right? Find that for yourself, or at least, or even gentle if you're more of a calm down person. Hey, and just go into that. That's even still just more engaging and playing to their narrative.
So would you, for the rookies hearing us, man, would you say that, yeah, whatever the fuck energy you
Right.
have one extra, whatever it is. If you're calm, be one
If
extra level a little bit.
if you're calm, all you have, if you're soft spoken,
Yeah,
right, you can be soft spoken
of
and still be very confident in what you're speaking about,
course. Yeah, of course. Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Like, just coming in with a lower tone, like I'm doing right now. Hey, yeah,
Walk us
that's
through, how do you bring your energy up? Because I remember sometimes I would be at the fucking office and I would enter it and you would be on top of the goddamn chair, moving your ass.
right, right. Just getting like
Jumping up and
actually on
down.
top of the chair and just making the
Yeah.
cold calls and
Hey,
yeah,
how you doing? Oh yeah.
yeah.
Oh no. And I would be like, damn, that's what's up. That's
Well,
what's up. So
well, let's talk about like
for me,
yeah. If we're going to talk about cold calls, I did call a particular list of like a cold calling list of people that were getting hit tremendously, like an
okay.
absurd amount, right? So those are probably like the worst of the worst in terms of the people who are getting hit up the most. So when you know that the majority of people who are out there are just being like, "Hi," like extremely
Yeah.
boring, that's when I would come and be like, you know what? What has made me, being a salesman, stay on the line with somebody even when I didn't want to talk with them or do business with them?
Yeah.
Excuse me. And that would be coming in a little bit more fierce and engaging, if per especially if I know that I'm going to get a strong response from that. So going back to, so if we had somebody who was an expired like that, I would come in with, "Hi, how are you?" I'd be much more like Jordan Belfort. I really would mimic him too.
Yeah, I
I would just
hated it.
like, "Hi, how are you today? Hey, I'll be real quick." And like, I just talk the way I'm speaking to you now. I don't care who it is. It's some might even say, "Oh, that seems a little bit," it could be a lot, but are you going to answer my question when I speak to you that way?
Yeah.
"Hey, how you doing today? Just looking to see if you guys still own that place over on 123 Happy Street." And
Yeah.
and and
Yeah.
and you can always tell the people who didn't want to answer my question. They'd be like, "We sold that about 3 months ago." "All right, excellent. Thank you so much. Hey, by the way, before I get off real quick," and then I'm into the next question just to see if there's any potential sale whatsoever, right?
Yeah.
And I would. I started off. That's where I ultimately got to, but it started off more like, "Oh, hi, Robert. Oh, Robert. Hey, yeah, I just wanted to see if maybe you guys had already sold the place over on." I'm already too slow. This guy's lost. He was lost
Yeah.
from the beginning. He was done with my ass, right?
Yeah.
And at this point, this is where I want to go back to working to learn before you earn. I can't expect this guy to buy something from me when I'm sounding like this. If he does, amazing. But I gotta work on the skills to pay the bills.
Boom. Shit. Yeah. So you're telling us and you're telling the audience that selling is something that it's a system. It's not something that, well, if he buys shit, oh, I made a commission, but it's not something that you should be praying for, right? It's something that you know what you're bringing onto the game, onto the table.
Correct.
That's great.
It's yeah, you're always gonna get those lucky ones, and sometimes it very much can be a numbers game. Just keep calling. "Hey,
Of
hey,
course.
hey,
Ooh,
absolutely."
yeah. Of course, it's
But
a number.
But at the same time, it's like going to the gym and working out your muscles. You got to work at this constantly and learn how to improve and get better so
Yeah.
that when you are spending your time on the phone, you can absolutely squeeze everything you have out of this call
Yeah.
and
There's
the person
technique
you're speaking
involved.
with. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
actually, you just brought something really important that I want to talk to you, man. The difference between marketing and sales.
Mhm.
I think because of all this shit with Frank Cardone, this, that, and all these self-proclaimed gurus, sales gurus, and fucking millionaires, and fucking social media overall, right? Uh, they believe that sales is the same as marketing, and I don't believe it's the same thing. But I wanna see your input on that, man.
Sales and marketing
Yeah,
being one and the same. Well, if we're talking about face-to-face sales, absolutely. I think they're onto something on that aspect. It's not going to be everything, but it is going to help to a degree, right? And again, we go back to playing by people's narrative, right?
yeah.
What do people who don't even know you, Pablo, why would they respect you just from the way you look right now, for instance? Why would they? Like how you're dressed? Like I'm
Because of
asking
my,
you, I'm asking you, like, why would they respect you right now if they saw the way you were dressed right now?
oh, because of the image that I'm presenting, right?
Right,
Everything that is communicated without words,
right.
they
But
would immediately
yeah,
know that I'm someone who needs to who needs well, is respectable.
because how you look,
Yeah, because of how I look, because of
right,
how I talk, well, how I move before I talk,
right,
the how I look at you, like you already know that there's like an aura or something like, this is someone that I would pay attention to. You know what I'm saying?
right. And I'm just gonna touch on the really like obvious for everybody. You have a suit on, also. You have a blazer on,
Yeah,
right?
and a mustache.
And who else wears blazers? Lawyers,
Yeah,
people on the news, the
mm,
president.
yeah, yeah.
So it's already in everybody's narrative,
Associate. Yeah,
right? And this is actually something really funny I learned from RuPaul. I don't know if you know who that is.
of course. And he's when he's a man, he
Yeah,
dresses very
he
sharp, by
has
the
like a
way.
sales course and stuff, and yeah, and he dresses
Okay, he
really sharp.
really he does.
He has like a little tidbits here and there, and he talks about it. And he talks. I'm literally just quoting what he says. When you need to play to people's narrative, and their narrative is when you have a suit already and you're hustling for whatever you're selling, chocolates, you're selling tires. I don't care what you're selling, to real estate, gold. You have a suit on. Already you're sold to a lot of people in their mind. Now, when you talk is a different story. When you have that conversation is a different story, but automatically you're already in a winning side because of that. Now, again, if you want to be the guy who wears a black hoodie, goes out and does the sales and are killing it, awesome, perfect. You're gonna have to fight a little bit of an uphill battle, but it won't be hard, especially if you already know how to speak to people, right? Like,
That dude, it's beautiful. So I don't have anything to add to that. Just break it down. The question was marketing versus sales. You just said it's both. It's both, right?
yeah,
They're not the same, but it's both because the
yeah,
marketing side will bring you the attention. Like, oh, look at this guy wearing a suit. Okay, let's pay. Like at the very least, it'll give you a gap, a window of
right.
2 seconds, three
The,
seconds. That's enough if you know sales, if you know how to
right,
sell, right?
right. They're already giving you that opportunity
Yeah.
just because you have a suit on, right? Same thing if we're going to touch on the men and women aspect, right? If you're a
Oh,
woman,
totally.
statistically speaking, they're going to want to talk to you longer. So already you already filled another gap, right? So just things like
Absolutely.
that. If we're going to talk about the marketing image aspect of it.
Talk about equality and shit. Statistically, it's shown and it's
Yes.
proven that a woman will sell way more than a man just because
Right.
she has the body of a woman and she's a woman and
Yeah.
less threatening and this and that. So statistically,
Oh, you should
oh,
see all
I
major
always
companies, even the tech companies, Facebook, Google,
you know
majority of their salespeople are women.
part of
And
the
yeah.
part. I'm sorry to interrupt you, man.
No, 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 go ahead.
I just want to say that part of what I'm writing in this new book, selling
Yeah.
with style, but it's in Mexican
Nice.
for Latinos in Spanish. There's there's part of the book that I say always bring someone else into the closing because a third party is like it softens the whole shit. It helps you because like good cop, bad cop. But if it's a woman, if you can bring a woman to a close,
Mhm.
woo! I
Right.
guarantee you, it'll fucking secure the closing for shizzle my
Right.
nizzle. It's talking about psychology, man. But
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
so, dude. So again, so okay, you answered that question. You nailed it. I want to know more about the. Here's something that I've been hearing over here, man. People don't like to be sold. They don't like to be sold. They like to buy. What do you think about that? Like they don't want answer that question. And I'll continue, man.
Okay, they don't like to be sold, they like to buy,
Yeah.
right?
What do
So
you think about that?
when I hear that, I think not being so classic, sleazy, typical salesman, right? So
Okay.
I think again going back to identifying where they might need a need or want for your service
Yeah.
and just asking them questions that makes them basically convince themselves that they want to buy it,
Yeah.
right? And it because that's a great salesman
Yeah.
will always do that. You'll have the person convincing themselves, all right, great. It's yeah, just yeah.
Just get like the right questions. I mean, we can talk about
Yeah,
anything. But
because I can go on forever about this, but yeah,
no,
essentially
I
just
love
ask,
it, man.
have them ask the right questions.
No, no, no. But you're right. And that's why I wanted to bring you, man, because I know you know your shit, and I know the conversation is flowing, and I love it. We're talking about so many different things, but we're keeping on track, man, and it's beautiful. And it's you're right, man. A great, phenomenal salesman. You will not
Yeah,
see them having all the conversation. They'll control the frame by asking, just pushing slightly into towards one direction. uh, you know yeah, right, so it's this, right, and
yeah,
there people is just like, oh yeah, because blah, 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 and then you just bring one aspect that they just said. If you're really listening, which again, to be a good salesman, you have to be a good listener, right?
right.
It's something that people do not understand over here, man. And I think you're a great listener. And for some reason, here's another question, man. Why would you say people open up to you so goddamn much? Have that superpower,
that's
right?
that
And don't
that's
give me
so
that
yeah, we've talked
bullshit of,
about this before. Yeah.
it's because of who I am, man. But let's break it down. If you could break it down, if you'd like to teach this superpower for someone
Right.
else, how would you teach it?
Well, I think it really comes from my desire to genuinely want to connect
Mm,
and really just get to know the person. Um, that has always been something that can also be one of my weaknesses, and I've identified that because
wow.
it has happened where I could have gone in for a close and I let that part of me just kind of take over. But if we're gonna talk just in general to your question, why do people open up to me? Yeah, I do think it's that, I'll ask specific questions that I know people don't get asked, even as simple as, wow, and how does that make you feel? Like how are you dealing with that? I'll ask them things like that. And when they're like, they look at me almost like as if no one has ever asked them that before, right? Hey, you know what? I'm sorry, I can't sell my house right now. I'm going through a divorce. Anyways, but try calling back. Oh wow, okay, no, that's totally fine. My I've been through one myself, and my parents have also. I mean, is everything going well with that? How are you dealing with that? And then I'm on the phone
Mm.
with them for 1 hour, bro, and we're just going back and forth. And I'm getting calls from them. Now they're calling me, and it didn't come from a place of me. Wanting to close a sale or anything. And this happens all the time. I'm staying at a hotel right now. Every time
Yeah.
I walk out my door, or I'm at the stop, or my cleaning lady comes in, I have like 15.
Oh, I think we lost him. I think we have a technical problem over here, my dear friends, because Kevin got lost. Maybe his fucking phone that well, his computer died or something, his connection. I don't know, because he did tell us that he's in a hotel. So maybe I don't know what happened, but let's carry on. So basically what he was saying is I I was gonna tell him I understand what's the downside of having way too much rapport with someone and keeping the conversation going.
Hello.
Oh, there you go.
All
Damn.
right. Hey, I'm sorry you lost me. That's hotel internet for you.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. Oh, and we're losing you again. We're losing you again. Come on, man. Come on, man. Dude, this is funny. This is fucking funny. All right, cool. So I'll continue. When he gets back, he gets back. If he doesn't get back, I don't care. You guys have me, and that's good enough. So again, I was saying that the downside of keeping that in that conversation way too long is that you don't go for the close, right? You are literally deviating yourself from the sale, and it doesn't look professional up to a point. Oh, come on, man. Yeah, there you
Sorry,
go.
sorry.
Sorry, not sorry. Yeah,
Hotel internet.
yeah. It just as soon as you said that, you just froze like hotel internet.
I thought you were doing that new thing on me where they're doing around the internet, the fake freezing. Have you seen that? They just go.
So basically, we're fucking dumb. So to finish up what I was saying, because I was telling the audience, bro, that
Yeah,
I could understand the downside on why you said it's one of your weaknesses as well, right?
it
Of
can be. Yeah,
keeping that conversation and having way too much rapport without going in for the close, right?
right. Yeah,
You are
yeah.
being
You can
you
get
are
stuck there.
first and foremost you're a salesman, right? And you're providing a service. You're not a fucking psychologist or anything like that. So it's great, but you deviate yourself from the actual sale. So yeah, this did it, but then you bring them back into the closing or into the sale, which Jordan Belfort explains the straight line, right? And that, but I understand, but still, that's those questions, man. That's beautiful because I could see how people be like, wow, no one has ever asked me that before. How do
Right.
I feel in a genuine way? So it stems from a genuine desire from to want to help people or want to understand them, but at the
Yeah.
same time, do you do it with a certain technique when it comes to tonality or maybe body language or something like that, or no?
I suppose so. Yeah. If I, again, like it's almost me that's so, I do it so unconsciously.
Okay.
And it's just, I see somebody going through something and yeah, just coming with a softer tone, a little bit more lighthearted. Maybe I'll throw in a chuckle or two if I want to. And I lock eyes with them. I think that's a really important one too. If you're doing face to face, I
Here's
just
a
lock
great
eyes.
here's a
Yeah.
great question. What if you're on the phone? Do you think they're watching you?
Do I think they're watching me?
Do you think people
I
watch when you're on the
I
phone?
like to act.
They see you? Oh, dude, we lost him again. I think what shit. Come on. This bullshit fucking internet. Well, audience, you know how it is. Yeah. We lost him again. We'll see if we can get him back and then we'll start wrapping it up because we don't want these interruptions again and again over the throughout the episode. But yeah, I mean, I basically just asked him, do you think people see you? That's a good question. Do you think people see you while you're on the phone? And this is something that I've been asking on my last two episodes. Because yeah, I mean, are you there, Kevin?
Let's see. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, wonderful. Um, how about now? Can you see me? There we go.
I'm looking at the time.
I'm
I hope you guys.
okay. It won't cut off this time. I switched over to my hotspot, so hopefully
All
we can
right.
just edit that out.
No, I won't edit, man. I keep it real. I keep it raw. You know what I'm saying?
All right, all right, all right. But
So,
yeah, I hope you got that last tidbit I was
I
saying.
think people see you while you're on the phone.
Yeah, I act as if I am on the phone. So
Mm.
I'd conduct myself with my hands and the way I'm moving and I'm talking. And it's something about you moving around while you're on the phone that I kind of think transfers over that energy and they can kind of feel it and hear it. It's really funny because one thing I like to share about, if I do all that stuff is in the beginning, you're so nervous, you're so in your head, you don't know, you're following a script and you're trying to read off of it that you're kind of so paralyzed at
Yeah.
first, right? And then people can even hear it and they'll be rude to you. They'll ask you how long you've been doing this, etc. But I promise if you keep up with it for anybody, you keep practicing, you start moving fluent like this, even if you know that you're not as what's the word I'm looking for? If you're not as uh
Like what? Fluent or
fluent or what's competent, competent, if you're not as competent
competent?
in what you're selling, even even then, if you're acting a certain way, once you start picking up that rhythm and getting it going, all these questions about, hey, you sound pretty young, people being rude to you, people hanging up on you, it goes away. It
Yeah,
goes away. And that was the biggest surprise to me at the doors too, hitting door knocking. It was when I was like, why aren't people like less rude to me? Don't ask me dumb questions like, hey, you look pretty young. Hey, how long you been doing this? Because of the way that you move and you talk. You look like somebody who can all defend themselves in a, word to word battle.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You're right. I mean, and you said it beautifully earlier. It's like an act. It's like a fucking movie. So I
Yeah.
consider when you're selling, it's like you're a fucking
Yeah.
actor. You
Yes.
put on a show, and you entertain the shit out of them, and you're like, yeah, well, believe as if you are, just like Kevin said, and pretend it actually works.
It
Maybe
does
this is
work.
not the greatest fucking advice, and you're not gonna hear it from any of the fucking idiots, but we're real. I mean, pretend, right? Act. Act the
If
shit out of it.
yeah, if you don't feel like you can be in your own skin for whatever reason, because people have a certain level of confidence, and it's not necessarily your fault. I don't know what the fuck you went through. I don't know what type of parents you had, or
Yeah.
etc. Your upbringing. But if you're just not as confident in your skin as you like to be, just start. That is something that can definitely help you, because I know I wasn't for a long time.
Yeah.
And eventually I came to my own, and now I can say fuck you to everybody else, and I'm awesome just the way I am, and I'm getting
And
better
still
every
sell me
day.
some. I can say fuck you and still
Right.
sell you
And that's
some.
something I learned from you too. You helped me instill that in
Thank you,
me
bro.
as well. You and other friends as well, man.
Thank you, man. Yeah, we are. I am pretty much like that. I'm like, fuck you, man. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
sign
Yeah.
right here, baby.
You're crazy to a degree. I don't go as hard as you do. Fuck, you're just like, fuck everyone. Hey man, you want a beer? Fuck that beer.
Fuck you, and fuck your mom, and fuck your ancestors, and fuck you, dude. But nah, man. Yeah, I am a little bit like that. But when I put on the fucking sales suit and shit,
Oh, I know it.
of
Yeah,
course I'm not
you're
like
switched
that. I
on. I
mean,
know. I just you and
when I
I just
have to,
messing around. Yeah.
I want to. You brought something. I mean, we'll start to wrap it up
Okay.
in a moment. But this is so fucking great, man. You brought it up that you were having conversations with just basically everyone. The
Mm-hmm.
cleaning lady at the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, someone at the fucking farmers market. I've seen
Yeah.
you have a
Yeah.
conversation, and you
Yeah.
have that superpower. So how important is to engage in conversations for a rookie salesman, for someone who's just getting started, a young hustler who wants to make their fucking money, whatever the fuck, and they're saying, oh well, I think real estate is a good option, I'll become a realtor. Because sometimes they think that while they're at the job,
Mm-hmm.
they can have those conversations, but then when they are out of the job, they're like, oh no, I couldn't have a conversation about real estate with a cleaning lady or something like that. Like, can you talk
Man,
about that a little bit, man?
dude, I can talk about this a lot in layers.
Oh, please.
because I mean, we go back to, people telling you to, well, when you're at work you act this way, when you're at church you act this way, when you're with your wife you act this way, and when you're with your mom you act this way. And we, coming back to something I learned from our brother Brian Casella about being very congruent with where you're at, something I learned from him across the board, shout out to him, is
And he
is
learned it
just,
from me.
and he learned it from me. and and being that's such an important principle and value in me now, is to be a congruent and consistent across the board. And and if you're going to get into this space of sales and business, right, unless you're inventing something, you're a tech person, but if you're going to get in this space, you have to learn how to speak, you have to learn how to communicate to reach top level. And what other way than to be on your way to the grocery store and just stop and have a conversation with somebody, get to know people. And again, that's why picking up a phone to make a call, or talking to the housekeeping lady, is no different to me, right? They're one and the same, right? How you doing? How you doing? Hey, I just happen to be working for this company. I mean, you think you might need this service, really? I mean, how would that help you out? All right. I mean, if you had to, when you just start going into it,
Yeah. Yeah.
I did the same thing with, I won't go down the road, but yeah, essentially it's super important because it's like constant practice. You think about the Black Mamba mentality, Kobe Bryant, right?
Yeah,
Just you got to work hard. You got to put the hours in, and the hours shouldn't stop just because you're not on the phone anymore. The work
there
shouldn't
you go.
stop
Yeah,
there.
it's 24/7.
Mhm.
How you do anything is how you do everything.
Yeah,
That's something that Brian and I say all the time. And then
yeah,
the congruency part, man,
yeah,
the first thing that they taught me as an image consultant, you
yeah,
cannot be any different. So if you're not a suit type of person, then don't be a suit type of person, but wear something that makes you unique and professional and look good and comfortable and especially congruent. Because if you're not congruent, I don't give a fuck if you're wearing a fucking Gucci, Armani, fucking bespoke suit. You come across as fake,
mhm,
uncomfortable, and not real. And
yeah.
people get that, even if
They
they're
pick
not.
it up real
Yeah,
quick,
for some reason they pick it up, even
real
if
quick.
they're not communication savvy and they don't know about it. They'll still be like, there's something
Something's
off.
off. Yeah, always. Yeah, people
And when
know.
people tell you, yeah, but I don't know why, but there's something about you. Even your energy. Are you an Aries? You want them to tell you that because you know that you are doing the right thing. I'm like, oh, cool. Oh, cool. Oh, how do you know? Yeah, I'm such an Aries. Yeah. Yeah, of course.
Justifiably boasting. I mean, yeah, getting into Uber cars, again, random meets at the grocery store. I hear it all the time. Wow, you have like, you're like a really positive, like, you have a really good soul. You have a
Yeah.
really, and I'm just thinking,
And I'm gonna sell the
okay.
shit out of you,
I
man.
mean, I mean, if you knew my, if you knew some of the opinionated things I had to say, you probably wouldn't feel that way. But
Yeah, but I mean, you have morals, and yeah, you are genuinely a
right.
great guy,
Yeah,
bro.
and then yeah, it's like, oh man, again, just going back into layers. Like,
Yeah,
anyways, but yeah,
you mentioned something important right now. Even if you are, well, you said, well, if you're in technology or if you're creating something like that, you don't have to. This is a good question, man. Do you think sales and communication applies for everyone, regardless of what they're doing, regardless of the job position that they have, age, whatever the fuck?
I mean, yes, it's going to be helpful across any platform, right? Because you go back to Grant Cardone's book about sell or be sold, right? For instance, everybody's selling something at all times, even if you are somebody who's an inventor or tech person. I just say that because, um, generally it's just not something they really have to focus on as much. But let's just say, right, let's put them together, right? You have two super smart scientist guys who are working on a brand new phone, right? And they're trying to sell it to an investor. I mean, who do you think is probably going to get the gig? The guy who has a top notch level communication and knows how to sell, or the guy who's like, who knows, his product could even be better than this guy's, but he's just like,
Probably.
this one's much, the way he comes in, this guy's gonna sell it all day,
Right.
right?
You're right. You're totally
Right.
right.
And sometimes you have something extremely niche. There's exceptions, of course. You have something extremely niche, like Elon Musk. He's his communication. Have you heard the guy give a talk? He's just like,
Yeah, but
right. But nobody was making electric cars, So sometimes there are exceptions like that.
he's smart. He
And
knows how to
he
play the
is super
game.
smart.
He
Yeah.
knows how to play the game.
Yeah.
I
Oh, I'm
mean,
not
he
knocking
does it
him
in his
at
own
all.
way, but he
Yeah.
knows how to play the game. I mean, he's not a fucking dumb, he's like
Nah.
nervous. His communication sucks in quotes because he stutters and this, but he knows when to change the subject. Because I've seen him, and when he gets asked a question,
Mhm.
the answers are smart. So yeah, I mean, the guy knows. The guy knows.
Right. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but
In interviews, he's pretty good. When he's giving speeches, yeah, he can be a little bit cringe sometimes.
it's fucking boring as shit. I was
He's-
gonna say, you're right, man. You can be talking to a fucking savior, right?
yeah,
To the fucking Lord and Savior, and someone who
mhm,
is gonna give you everything that you want, and someone
yeah,
whose product or idea or invention is the best. But if they don't know how to communicate it, they don't know how to sell it, and if they don't know how to sell themselves, god damn, it's gonna be boring as shit. And you
yeah,
and I have seen it on speaking events, which we have not shared the stage yet.
yeah.
We will in the future, bro.
I love it.
But I've seen people that are way smarter, way richer, and way more accomplished and successful than I am, and they're just boring as shit. And the audience is like, get the fuck out of here, man. You lost them. And I translate that because I love public speaking, I consider myself a salesman first and foremost,
Mhm.
then an image consultant, and then of course a public speaker. And I have a question for you right now. Also, what do you have to say to people that are kind of afraid of owning the fact that they're a salesperson, that they're a salesman or a saleswoman? Because I'm seeing that, picking up that here in Mexico. They're like, it's like there's something off. Like, oh, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a lawyer, I'm a
Mhm.
salesperson, and that's for some reason is like kind of paisa or shady. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
What would you have to say for people that are in that? You know, like, or a young person, like, hey, mama, I'm a salesperson.
Well, uh, it's gonna have to come down. One, you have to believe in what you're selling is gonna be helpful for somebody else, right? It's, I mean, that's and I'm telling you, this is coming from somebody who sold jewelry, like high end GIA certified. That's like the biggest.
And drugs.
And right, and drugs. And but no, jewelry is like the like it's like one of the biggest swindles out there, right? It's
Who needs
crazy.
fucking
And
jewelry?
I
Yeah.
only did it for 5 months, made great money, mind you, but I could only do it for so long because it is like you're schwacking people left and right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It is bad. I couldn't do it. Even though I was really good at it,
Yeah.
essentially all I was doing was flirting with everybody, like fucking 67-year-old women and just romancing the piece. That was hard to do. And people did get canned from that job because you could tell that they were having a hard time trying to sell a $16,000 rock to this old lady who just came in for a shirt, who just got off the boat, off a cruise line just to get a shirt. And now she's buying a $16,000, opening up a new line of credit, just going down the
And
whole road, man. I was like,
you felt
damn.
kind of, did you feel kind of bad on the
Of
inside?
course,
Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, there was some, yeah, but
To a
some, if
degree.
I knew they were like loaded, like there were some people who would come in and be like, yeah, I'll take that $30,000 diamond bracelet, no problem. Yeah, just get it for her. Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, that's something that I want to talk about, bro.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
would you pre-qualify a customer without asking the right questions? I mean, I know that you have to, ask them the questions, this and that, but you yourself, you, Kevin, by watching them, how would you know it's someone who was loaded or someone who was just a looky-loo, someone who was just like, ah, man, that this motherfucker, this nigga has no money.
How would I know?
Yeah, how would you know? What was your method or something like that? Was it the fucking body language or the image?
Yeah. That okay, so just like targeting somebody just based off of the way that they look?
I don't know. I mean, just
That
I'm asking you the question, man. Like
yeah, yeah.
you can talk about image, you can talk about
I,
the size of
you
the
know,
car.
you, you know,
I don't know. Like,
all
oh,
about
that
girth.
guy
It's all
looks
about
like
girth for
he's
me.
bald.
But that's the funny part. I used to think like that a lot, in the sense that I would try to find the richest people and stuff, but in terms of how they look. But if I was really trying to target somebody who had a lot of money, maybe I would do it based off of circumstances more than how they actually looked. So, like, if I wanted
Yeah,
to sell $1 million home, then I'm going to go door knock in Beverly Hills, for instance, right?
yeah,
Obviously, everybody there is going to have a lot of money. Or maybe if I was selling, going back to the jewelry store, when I was selling jewelry off the docks in Alaska, the piers, um, I would look for the boats that had like only like a few thousand people versus the big ass Carnival, the
cool.
Walmart of cruises, right? Like
Yeah, yeah, makes sense.
nobody has money on that boat, right? Like that's just how we think, right? Like nobody has money. Like maybe some of them do, but nobody. Then you look at the little tiny boats that have like, yeah, it's a private, like only 1,200 people on that boat, and it's like we're going for them.
Yeah. Okay, cool. That's a great answer. Now, to begin to wrap it up,
Yeah.
uh, how did you deal, or how do you deal with the non-buyers? The people that are naysayers. Oh, no, I don't want, no, get out of here, no soliciting or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, get the fuck. I don't have time for you. All these type of person does that. Do you keep pushing them, or how? Basically, the question
Okay.
to make it a little bit simpler: how
Uh-huh.
would you deal with objections,
With
rejection?
objections and rejection.
Yeah,
Okay, with objections, it'll get to a point if you're just starting off with objections where maybe you'll start running out of things to say, right? And at
yeah.
that point, maybe the conversation is lost. In some sense, they never really are yours. any way to lose. So you don't have nothing to lose by continuing. And at that point, just asking another question, even if it's not the best question at the time, because at that point, you're now again learning more and you're applying yourself. If you can ask one more question that you're comfortable asking every time you get on a phone conversation, you've won, because now you've improved yourself. There were so many times people say, you know, I'm not good, I'm not buying. And then right there and then you can be like, all right, see you later, and just hang up. Like, okay, totally, I get it. But real quick before I get off here, you ask that one more question and you'll feel so big. You'll feel so much better about yourself, and the improvements start coming in because you've crossed over a little bit. And then at the end of the day, if they've rejected you, that's that. The rejection is going to sting in the beginning, right? Because innately we are human beings and we don't like to be rejected. But after a while, that shit just becomes like, your skin starts becoming like rubber, and you grow tough skin. And that's just part and part of becoming an unstoppable force when you're so good at handling rejection.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Damn, bro. You're so woke. You just
Am I
gotta
woke?
nah, nah, nah.
Whoa.
Nah, nah, nah. It's just an inside joke, guys. And last two questions, man. Well, this is not a question. This is like props to you, man, that I see you're starting, you're gonna build a new business over there in
I
America,
am.
right? We were just talking
Yeah,
about
in
that
Vegas. Yeah.
before. And it's something, I mean, I don't know if you want to tell us, but
I'll
what
keep it
type
on
of
the
business?
wraps right now,
Yeah,
but I have
all right,
I have so
yeah, yeah.
many things
But
that
just,
I haven't planned. Yeah.
but that I just want to bring that like mentality into the
Yeah.
fucking podcast, you know, that you're not doing just one thing, you know, that
No.
you'll have a job anywhere. And
Right. I'll
I
always
don't
have
like
money.
saying
Yeah.
that. I don't like saying that because I don't come from that mentality of a job, right?
Right.
But you stay relevant regardless of what happens in the fucking economy or the fucking world, because you know how to communicate and you're a great salesman. So that mentality, man, just how would you, what's the word I'm looking for? How would you spread that mentality onto the rookies, onto the people that are listening to this, man? Of keeping always, you know, I'm having a hustle over here, and then I'm selling here, and then blah, 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 blah.
Expanding your horizons through enlightening yourself of what is available out there. I once heard this saying when I was really young: you are everything that you know, right?
Okay.
You are everything that you know. So
Yeah.
if so in order for you to learn more of what out there, how, you know, if this again is the life that you want and you want to be successful, you want the big house, you want the big cars, eventually you'll find out that that's not everything and it won't make you happy. But if you want that nice stuff and being able to provide for your family and loved ones, then you got to find out what the people at the top are doing to get there. And once you start learning, and then you figure out, you learn the skills, and then you realize that you yourself, by applying yourself, can get there yourself.
Yeah.
That can be the turning wheel that you need to get you to move and start acting in such a way. But and then going back to the rejection question again, just becoming that unstoppable force when you're used to failures, or this didn't go my way. Like, I love failing, I love stress. we could take a we could take a look at two different people who take failures and go, oh man, I failed, I suck, I'm never gonna try that again. And you can take the person who goes, oh man, I fucking failed again. Fuck yeah. What did I learn this time? How did I grow this time? And that is so pivotal, but that is, and though it sounds so simple, it's such a hard thing for the normal person to grasp and understand. The failures, the anxiety, the stress, you need it. It will help you get better. I got, going back to my story, I got burned alive, had father here and there. I went through a very terrible divorce with unfaithful ex on best friend, whole big shebang. You
Yep.
keep going through all these downfalls, and eventually things will just start to click and get better for you. And yeah, that's just hopefully I didn't derail, but essentially that is the way to kind of coming up.
Beautiful. Because the
Yeah.
last question was going to be something about in regards to that, man. That what would you say to someone who's just getting started in sales, whether it's real estate or
Yeah.
fucking selling, actually, I don't know, cell phones or whatever the fuck, right? That
Mhm.
they're hungry, they have no money, but they want to have money
They
because
have no
money
money.
doesn't buy everything, but it does give you access to everything that matters, right?
Right.
it doesn't, it's not everything, but it gives you
It's
access
not
to
everything,
everything. I mean, shit,
right? But
it
it
gives
does,
you
yeah.
the access, and it only amplifies who you are.
Yeah,
So that's a
yeah,
whole another topic, the money
yeah.
side, right? Because I remember you told us uh, $200 was a lot for you, and you just stopped while you
Yeah,
were selling chocolate.
correct. Yeah, I was like $200.
Yeah. Okay, that's it for me.
I made it.
Which, I mean, that's the mentality. That for you, that was success. You were a successful young man, a super successful young man, because you bought what you wanted. You got it from your own shit. That's beautiful.
Yeah,
But
identifying your wins, that's huge too. Yeah, I didn't see it like that at that time. I was like, I'm broken. I can't even believe I got this far. Wow, I'm so lucky.
well, fuck that, right? But you
Right.
said it
Fuck yeah. 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 Fuck
like
that.
having those mini closes on a
Yeah.
sale, having those
Yeah.
mini wins before
Mini
you
wins.
get to the
Yeah.
fucking real win. I'm just
Hmm.
picking up from the things that you said, right?
Yeah.
And just like resuming in a sense. I think that's beautiful, man. I think that's a great fucking teaching. That's a great lesson for anybody who's listening to these, man. Take it from Kevin, from someone who's got it really bad, but you know what? You got that and you transform it like fucking Tai Chi. You
Yeah.
got the energy and you just rich.
Right.
And it's beautiful, man. The energy that you bring to the table is beautiful. It's contagious. It's contagious. That if I would have said one thing, you're contagious. You know, fucking
Oh, I love that, dude. I always used to tell myself something similar like that. Like I was I used to tell myself a lot when I was young. Like I be like a light, a positivity, like a light, a
yeah.
beam of light that you can give to others, and no matter what, you'll always be filled with it. Like come over here, take some of my light, take the light. Yeah, go. How much do you need? Here, have some of that here. I'm unstoppable. No matter what, this light will always keep burning. You know,
That's abundance, baby. We know what's really going on. That's
this
good.
is really going on.
That's a teaching on abundance right there, guys. I mean that
Yeah,
right there, baby, right there. And last question, man.
yeah,
Sales and relationships. Has it helped your relationships?
absolutely,
Mm,
absolutely, absolutely. Wow, absolutely,
mm, mm, mm.
absolutely. Again, there's something that goes hand in hand with becoming really good at sales and your personal relationships, because you'll start to identify how you can work better at your communication with your business relationships, and then you start realizing, wow, through learning this, I'm starting to realize I have really bad communication in my own personal relationship, and because of that, I've come now to learn to identify and pick better relationships, substantially better relationships in my
Pre-qualify
life.
your girlfriends.
Pre-quali, yeah, yeah. My current girlfriend right now. Oh man, I really, yeah. I liked her years before, and I never told her.
Shout out to
But
her, by the
I
way.
was watching her and talking to her and studying her like a hawk and just studying her behavior and being like, and sometimes I'd be like, and then sometimes I'd be like, okay, okay, and then sometimes I'd be like,
Mm, mm,
yeah,
mm, mm, mm.
but yeah, it does help a lot
Shout
substantially.
out to her, man. Shout out to her. She's
Yeah,
phenomenal. I know her.
thank you,
I'm
brother.
not gonna mention her unless he mentions her, but I know her. She's phenomenal, and I'm glad you guys are together, man. Fuck
Thank you,
yeah.
brother.
On the record, motherfuckers.
On the record.
Record.
Thank
Come
you, man.
on, man. uh shit, I forgot the last fucking question, but yeah, because this is the last question. This is the last
Okay,
segment.
the
And
last one.
the last one. I fucking forgot. I fucking hate when that happens, man. But you just gotta keep with it, keep the momentum. Never.
Keep the momentum.
Ooh, no, it was such a great question, man. God damn, come on, Pablo. Shit, Pablo. uh,
Going
dude.
back to just why you think about that, just going back to like relationships, not even if you're not, if you even if you're doing something in sales and you're still working for like another employer, it also just helps you to better
Yeah,
have a better established relationships with your superiors and how you're treated overall
you're
as
right. With
well.
everyone, with your
Yeah,
family, with your loved ones.
with
Yeah,
your
you're right.
family. Yeah, yeah.
I remember the question.
Perfect.
How long do you study, or do you invest in yourself, image wise, or reading a book, or fucking podcast, whatever the fuck?
Every day in any way I find a way to improve myself, right?
Yeah.
Even when I'm out being entertained, I'll watch somebody like, for example, it's so funny. I had a conversation with Shyla yesterday. Shout out to my girlfriend. And we're
Shout
talking
out to
about
Tyler.
watching Dave Chappelle. And
Okay, yeah, that's
he's
great
so
guy.
good at one thing that I pointed out, which is he knows how to talk about a topic that's controversial and
Yeah.
make it seem like he's on both sides. And
Yeah.
he does it masterfully. Like he does it like, and I study that people just laughing their ass off. He is funny. I love him. I think he's hilarious in terms of
Super
he's
smart.
very good comedic. But the way he says things, like he'll talk about guns, or he'll talk about
Lesbians.
lesbians. He'll talk about Black Lives Matter and all that stuff, and he makes it sound like it's left for interpretation on which side he's on. It's so fucking good. I'm like, damn,
Right.
bro.
That's right.
And so when I listen to that, I'm studying myself. I'm like, okay, how can I use that when I'm speaking with somebody else, or I'm
Ooh,
trying to get my way, or perhaps I'm stuck in a rock in a hard spot, and whatever it might be. I just see how I could apply that myself. So
now
yeah,
that's
yeah,
good.
every day, in any way, yeah.
Of course. You listen to it, guys. I mean, you heard it. You heard it from Kevin. That's what's up. But that this last bit is beautiful because you're not actually on a student mode. Oh, I'm gonna get in front of the computer and listen to a fucking podcast or get into a course. Dude, you're watching fucking Dave Chappelle, whatever the fuck, maybe chilling, but you're learning from every um opportunity
So
that you
it's
get.
so yeah, and
That's
it's not to
beautiful.
say, I got
Beautiful.
books over there on the shelf right now too, and it's not to say I don't have time to study as well, but I just use every
Oh, of course you
opportunity
do.
that I can to watching the news guy, how he says the things he says in the news, it's just everything. Yeah.
That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. Anyway, man, I want to thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your
Thank you, brother.
for your words, for your advice, for sharing your story and all this shit. For the people that are listening to us, I just realized that I said all that shit. And I'm talking about your story. I'm sorry. I don't say it in a derogatory way or in a
I
bad
didn't think so. You
way.
know us. Come on now.
You know,
I don't.
I think I'm trying to keep it classy over here and
There you go. All right,
fucking
keep it classy.
and I just did
Get it together, baby.
it's funny. I keep it real. That's how we do over here in
Yeah,
fucking Fashion Matrix
100%.
podcast. I appreciate you, man, my
I
brother,
appreciate you,
and
brother.
I have round of applause for everything
Hey,
that you're putting out there, man.
thank you for everything that you have taught me over the years, and you continue to teach others. You're amazing yourself, man.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. So thank you, everyone over here, for listening to the Fashion Metrics podcast. Remember that you can find me at pablomentor.com or style systems with a double S at the end.com. That's my shit. Pablo Mentor, at Pablo Mentor, anywhere on social media. Of course, I'll add Kevin's social media if you guys have any questions for him. Where can they find you anyway? Can you
Uh,
tell us?
Instagram probably be the best place at
Okay.
Kevin C Marks with an
Kevin
X.
C. Marks. Kevin C. Marks. That ring a bell? So, but still, I'm gonna tag your
Sounds good.
shit over there, right?
Mhm.
And yeah, if you have any questions, just send him a question or send me a question, and we'll keep this going. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, brother. And until the next one. Wait, hold on.